Memorial Stadium is center stage for Coach Gardenia and his Albany State squad as they try to punch their ticket once again to a championship game. That food looks so good, but they have to stay focused at the task at hand. Win the trophy, and you gain a ticket to the SIAC Championship. Coming up next, right here on ESPN. Fantastic afternoon for football in the Sapphire along the Chattahoochee. Columbus, Georgia, yeah, they are cooking it up. Ooh, that looks so good. Football will be center stage as Fort Valley State takes on Albany State University to see who will represent the East in the SIAC. Hello, everybody. I'm James Red, along with two-time Super Bowl champion and proud graduate of the Fort Valley State University, Tyrone Poole. Tyrone, you've played in this game, and now you throw the records out, but they have to win in order to punch their ticket to play one more game.
Well, you know what, James? This is what they call rivalry week. You got Georgia, Florida. You got Michigan, Michigan State. Today you got Fort Valley State and Albany State. I'm going to give you the ABCs of this game real quick. The alumni, they're excited. Both teams wear blue and gold, and they playing for a championship today.
I like to hear that. Now, both teams have been riddled with injuries, but both teams come in with a little tweak. Leading the way, Demetrius Harris. This young man is a sack machine.
Yeah, Demetrius Harris, he has been keeping that Fort Valley State defense on the mend. When I say on the mend, they have been giving up some big plays. They've been kind of lackluster in the run game. But Demetrius Harris, he's one of the top sack leaders in all of Division college football. So look for this guy to be on Keelis Williams.
And for Albany State, McKinley Habersham, his last classic game, and he may have to play two different positions today.
Yeah, you know, when you're called upon, when you got a lot of injuries and you're called upon, you have to take your multi-talented guys and put them in various opportunities to win games. McKinley Habersham, he's going to be that guy today. So look for him not only to run the ball, but he could throw the ball if the starter quarterback goes down.
May play running back and quarterback when we come back. This is the 30th annual event here in Columbus, Georgia. Rivalry Central right here on ESPN.
That's how steak is done. Longhorn Steakhouse. You can't fake steak.
Gorgeous afternoon for football here at historic A.J. McClung Memorial Stadium. James Verrett along with Tyrone Poole. And as you can see, head coach Porter is right there with his squad. Kevin Porter in his fourth season, his fourth classic game. He's already won the conference championship, did that in his first season with the Wildcats. And now he's trying to avenge a loss last season in this game. And for Albany State, Gabe Gardenia, the head coach at Albany State in his third season, looking to punch his second consecutive ticket to the SIAC championship game. Standing in his way is the other blue and gold team in the SIAC, the Fort Valley State University. Should be a wonderful afternoon for football, packed already in the tailgating area. And to do the kicking duties for Fort Valley is Eli Mashburn. He'll do all of the kicking, and back deep is Marcus Folks for Albany. And on the return, Folks takes it and goes all the way out to the 29-yard line. And as you can see, we got some rock'em sock'em going on already. It's safe to say, Tyrone, these two teams don't like each other.
Well, you know, number one, they both wear the same colors. You know, blue and gold. That's the staple of each school. So I'm pretty sure, again, all week, alumni has been talking through social media. It's a fun time today. Rivalry time. Fort Valley State versus Albany State. You got to love it.
And as you can see, McKinley Habersham, the running back who also plays something called like the Wild Ram. And you see quarterback for Albany State is Calais Williams, and they will run option-type offense. But right now, a short pass out to Habersham, and Habersham is off and running, breaks one tackle, and he is brought down at about the 35-yard line, close to a first down. And for Calais Williams, he was injured earlier in the season against West Georgia in a victory and has been out. And not only was he injured, the descending next two quarterbacks got injured. And once he started to come back last week, McKinley Habersham had to step in and do a lot of the hard work and heavy lifting as far as running the option plays. That's why they called him the Wild Ram. So now we have 2nd down and 5 for the Golden Rams. Inside give to Scott, and Scott is out to a 1st down and more for the Golden Rams.
Yeah, you know, Albany State, they're number 1 in the SIAC with the running game. And you see it right here. They're going to man-on-man, and they're going to dare your defensive line to stop their running game. Now, they are number 1 in the run, like Tracy Scott, Habersham, but passing, they're not so good. I don't think they have a top receiver in the top 10 of the SIAC.
No, they don't. 1st down and 10, near midfield, and once again, here comes Tracy Scott. The Tampa native is almost to midfield before he's brought down. Strong rushing attack for Albany State. They want to run that option pass when they have to, but right now with a quarterback that's still not 100%, Scott, along with Habersham, will have to carry the load.
You know, even though this Fountain City Classic, this is the 30th opportunity that they played it. Albany State have won the last 2, but Fort Valley owns the series 44-37.
Williams, this time he is wrapped up and brought down. Good play there by the defense, showing up big. Majesty Hansberry in that linebacker position for Fort Valley.
Yeah, you know, guys like Hansberry and the other 10 guys, because of Demetrius Harris, I'm pretty sure Albany State is trying to key on him. These other guys from Fort Valley State defense are going to have to step up and make plays just like Hansberry did on that very last play.
Loss makes it 3rd down and 7. Williams throws a bullet low and incomplete, intended for his tight end Christian Grant, who is just a freshman, caught 2 touchdown passes last week.
Yeah, again, this shows that Albany State is really not a passing team. You know, again, the receiver is wide open, underthrown ball. Again, Fort Valley State did suffer a little bit against Savannah State with the pass. Look for Albany State to try to exploit that if they can.
Gabe Belinas back to punt. He averages about 35 yards a punt. His long this season, 55 yards. Nice one. It will take an Albany State bounce, go inside the 15, inside the 10, and down at about the 9-yard line. Good punt for Belinas. And for the opening drive for Albany State, unable to get the offense rolling like they would like to see. And taking the field now, DeMonte Jones for Fort Valley had 3 touchdowns last week and only 2 interceptions against Savannah State. Took him about a half to really get things rolling.
Yeah, you know, this is going to be his 2nd start in the line of fire. Unfortunately, it's in a great classic rivalry game, but Jones has played it. Savannah State, here's his opportunity again against Albany State. We should see a better game from Jones today.
Contrasting styles. Albany wants to run it, and Fort Valley wants to throw it around. Jones now on a keeper, and this time he is quickly wrapped up by a sea of blue shirts. Leading the way for Albany State is Stephon Pierre.
Again, you opened up earlier, James, talking about Rock'em Sock'em. Well, this first quarter, the first 5 minutes of this game, is going to look like this here. They're basically trying to feel each other out. They got a lot of emotion and excitement going, electricity, but eventually it's going to calm down, and you're going to see these 2 teams get to playing football.
Still inside their 10, 2nd and 11. Jones throws it and incomplete. Pass intended for Q.A. Walker. Good coverage there by Jalen Bush.
Now, this is what Fort Valley loves to do. This is their staple. They throw the ball. Albany State is number one as far as running the ball. Fort Valley is number one as far as throwing the ball, even though their trigger man is out, and Jones has to be that guy, but still look for Fort Valley to do what they do best, throw the ball to their wideouts.
3rd down, 11. Jones getting some pressure, needs to get out of his own end zone. He gets tripped up and brought down for a loss. Good play by that defensive front, and a great play by the defensive line. Joseph Davis playing in the outside linebacker role, but he steps up and gets the sack.
Again, Albany State does know that Fort Valley is not real good at running the ball. So what they do, they're going to try to put pressure on the quarterback. They're going to blitz. They're going to send that extra defender to get Jones to run away, to get out of the pocket so that they can do what they did, allow their defense to get to the sideline and make Fort Valley punt.
Defense may be the best offense for Albany. Punting out of his own end zone is Mashburn for Fort Valley. Looks like the ball was tipped, and this is a very, very short punt. And now it was an Albany State person who touched it. It may be Fort Valley's ball.
Yeah, I think that's going to be Fort Valley's ball. That's where you got to get out the way.
The official call says yes, Fort Valley gets the fumble, an errant mental mistake by Albany State's special teams, and the ball goes back to Fort Valley State.
You know, right here, you get the tip of the ball. Yeah, lucky might have gotten the tip of it. But the point is, when you're on the return team, there's a term they call Peter, hot, get away from the ball. And right here, Albany State guy didn't hear that Peter. Fort Valley gets the ball.
Coach Gardenia said that they have to play well in all phases of the game. Sometimes when you focus on offense and defense, special teams get lost in the minutia, and now special teams may have put the defense back on the field, which it has. 1st and 10 now for the Wildcats, now at their own 26. Jones going long. Interception for Albany State. Jalen Bush with the pick, and that defense for Albany State shows up and makes a big play.
Now, normally, anytime you have a turnover, a sudden change is what they call it, a sudden change. Fort Valley gets the ball back, sudden change, the offense. You want to go deep because you feel like the defensive guys, they're kind of tired. Here, Jones looks to go deep, take advantage of that turnover, but Jalen Bush, Albany State's secondary, playing deep, expected the deep throw, picks it off, gives the ball back to Albany State.
There was a penalty on the field, and that was declined by Albany State, which means that they will take over. And you see Jalen living up to his last name. That is a bushy haircut right there.
Yeah, it is. There's a bushy haircut. But, you know, actually, even though that was a turnover, it really was a punt for Fort Valley. If they had punted the ball, actually they gave themselves more room, because if they punted it before it got blocked, Albany would have gotten the ball probably around the 40. So really this is like a punt that really pushes Albany State backward.
Williams looking to throw, incomplete. Pass intended for Javon Wooten.
Yeah, Wooten, what he got there? He got a hoodie up under his shoulder pads there?
Yeah, that is a hoodie. I think the officials eventually will tell him to tuck it in, because that's something somebody can grab.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. That could be like Looney Tunes. You know, you're running
bad enough he got long hair.
Yeah,
Guys that had long hair, but a hoodie?
2nd down and 10. Quick on the quick sweep, and positive yards for the Golden Rams. On the carry, Rashad Jordan, just a freshman, but playing well.
Yeah, you got Albany State coming with a jet sweep here. If you want to get to the edge very quick, this is the type of play that would get the team, your offense, to the edge very quickly. But Fort Valley was there to corral the play so it would not pick up as many yards as it could have. But look for Albany State to come back to that play.
3rd and 4. Staying multiple is Albany State, spreading it out, trying to spread out that strong defense for Fort Valley. Now on the inside run is McKinley Habersham, and he may have gotten one, possibly two. He does a lot of the dirty work for this offense. He does get some big plays, but he is the inside back for this team.
Yeah, these two teams know each other like night and day. You know, Habersham, he's a great runner, but Fort Valley knows what he can do. They know what that Albany State offense can do. They know what Coach Gardenia is going to do. Coach Gardenia knows what Coach Porter is going to do. So it's basically a chess match today to see who's going to win this game.
Bolinas to punt. And for his second punt of the day, a boomer, and it stays in bounds inside the 10 again, and is down at about the 7. His second consecutive punt that goes inside the 10-yard line. Special teams on that side playing very well. When we come back, we'll see if Fort Valley can get their offense started. The Fountain City Classic 30th anniversary right here on ESPN. Welcome back to a wonderful afternoon for football along the banks of the Chattahoochee River, A.J. McClung Memorial Stadium in Columbus, Georgia, for the 30th annual Fountain City Classic. And now you see DeMonte Jones with his second drive of the afternoon. Last one was ended in a punting situation, but also gave them the opportunity to continue their drive. Now 1st and 10 inside the 10. And this time a run, and yes, they're going to run it to Jamari Clark. Clark plays a lot of positions, known as more of a tweener between a running back and a wide receiver.
Yeah, you see right here on this play, Fort Valley was in a stack formation with their receivers, spread it wide. The reason why they wanted to do that, they wanted to expand Albany State defense so they could do what they just did with Clark, run him off tackle and pick up positive yards.
Give again to Clark. He tries to run wide and does get some more positive yards before the blue shirts of Albany State corral him together. Leading the way is Terry Compton from Albany State.
You know, I'm looking at that end zone and it's painted, Albany State, but it's blue and gold, And then you look on the other side of the field, you see Fort Valley is painted blue and gold. So that's what this game is about. It's about the blue and the gold.
The big game to see who really represents that blue and gold the best. 1st and 10, that drive will continue for Fort Valley. Both teams trying to punch their ticket to the SIAC championship game. This one is deked and dunked, but yes, a reception made by Q.A. Walker, but DeMonte Jones is smothered by the defense.
Yeah, that little block right there by Clark allows Jones to get the ball to Walker. If Clark had not gotten that block, that probably could have been a sack.
Gets him out of the hole into his own 35. It's DeMonte Jones in Fort Valley.
Got the cards and that check with me offense. You got to love it.
High snap, but once again, possession play. Shamar Bridges stands at 6'5", but he had to get down to about 3 foot just to get that sliding catch.
Yeah, big guy like Bridges, what you want to do with him, you want to throw him slants, you want to throw him all types of inside routes because his body is so big and the guy is a man out there. 6'5", 210, get the ball to him inside, jump ball situations.
Transfer from Tusculum College. Jones now getting in rhythm. Finds his 3rd consecutive receiver. This time making the play is Jeffrey Mack. Compton right there on the tackle.
Yeah, Fort Valley lines up in trips here. They send the outside guy on the go route, and they really work at the number 2 and the number 3. Right here, the number 3 and the number 2 run a quick out, and usually that's against a zone defense, and the number 3 guy is going to be wide open, just like Mack was on that particular play right there. That's an old Indianapolis Colts play right there. Peyton Manning used to love to run that play.
Jones fakes the give, and now he's going to try to find Q.A. Walker, but out of bounds. Bush right there on the coverage.
Yeah, we've called Bush name a lot. This guy's a pretty good corner. You see him shaking his head. That's that confidence. That's that confidence. That's what you got to have to be a corner. But again, fake up to Clark. get Jones off of the spot. You see when you get a quarterback moving left to right, do not allow them to set up, then the ball is not a good thrown ball like you just saw right there.
3rd and 3.
Got that check with me offense, trying to see what Albany State is in and trying to find the best play for Jones to run.
High throw, but acrobatic, and they will call it a catch by Jeffrey Mack.
The Albany State comes with a blitz here. Ball comes out real quick. Mack gets 1 foot in, and that's all you need in college football. 1 foot. They actually got 2 in.
There you go.
So, hey, that's pro. So Mack is showing he's ready for the pros. Good footwork. Fort Valley trips again.
Good throw by Jones, now into Albany State territory. Jones going long, and there's that guy again, Mr. Bush. He says, you're going to keep picking on me, I'm going to stand up to you.
Yeah, Bush is a guy like him. Bush, we saw on a couple of other pictures where he's nodding his head right there. He claps his hands together. That right there, when you clap your hand together, right there as a defensive back, you're saying to yourself, man, I almost had that. So I'm pretty sure this guy's going to have an opportunity. We're going to hear him make some plays and see him make some plays in this game. He's a good corner.
Transfer from Savannah State is Jalen Bush. Shuttle pass. Positive yards for Fort Valley, and going to the ground is Marlon Fleming. He said he could have had more on that one.
But you see that play by Scott. If Scott had not, watch it, 21 going to come up right there. Right there, if he had not dove and gave up his body, that could have been a big play. Excellent play call by Fort Valley, kind of like a screen. The shuttle pass, it's a safe play. If it's dropped, it's an incomplete pass, but if you complete it, it can turn into something big.
Once again, going with the run, but this time they go nowhere fast. Finding the running back is Joseph Davis. And Joseph Davis, just a sophomore, 6'3", 240, playing in the outside linebacker role. They call it the bandit.
Fort Valley going back with that check with me. They're going back to the stacked receivers. Let's see if they come with the run play again. That's what they did last time out of this formation. But usually a team will have a run play and a pass play called from the same formation. So let's see if this is going to be a run version or the pass.
And looks like they may have run out of time, but before they did that, Fort Valley calls a timeout. And when we come back, we'll see if Fort Valley can keep the drive alive, or will the Golden Rams shut the door. You're watching SIAC Football on ESPN.
What would you like the power to do?
If you're in Columbus and you think, oh, the mall is a little quieter today, that's because you got a lot of people at A.J. McClung Memorial Stadium, football center stage along the Chattahoochee, packed house at A.J. McClung. 2nd down and 11 for Fort Valley inside Albany State territory. And this one goes a little bit too short for the intended receiver. Pass intended for A.J. Shipman.
It's a great play call by Fort Valley. It looked like Albany State was in some type of cover 2. The corner was in no man's land. He had a deep route behind him and a short route in front of him. That was a correct read by Jones on that particular play. Just did not deliver the ball accordingly, but look for Fort Valley to come back to that stack formation.
3rd and long. Jones with time, now getting some pressure, has some room to run, but decides to throw it. Ball is tipped. Oh, could have had it, but incomplete. A.J. Shipman once again the target and unable to bring that one in.
Yeah, situation right there. I believe if Jones could come back and do it all over again, he probably had enough room to pick up some positive yards and and pick up another first down for Fort Valley, but he chose to throw the ball incomplete. Now that brings up a fourth down for Fort Valley.
Lineman did a good job of trying to block. To see TJ Faust right there talking to his O-line coach. But for DeMonte Jones, he'll have to sit on the side and see if Eli Mashburn can connect. Longest of the year, 45 yards. This one about 39 and way short for Mashburn. When we come back, we'll see if Albany State's offense can get started. No score here in the opening quarter of the 30th annual Fountain City Classic.
You like the power to do.
Kevin Porter trying to see what he can do to get his offense started, but now it'll be up to his defense in order to give the ball back to that Wildcat offense. For Albany State, they take over after a missed field goal by Eli Mashburn for Fort Valley, and now we've got movement along the line, and looks like Albany will be pushed back 5. And that will move them back a few yards because Jean DeBerry, the tight end, had a little movement there for Albany State.
I say this about both of these teams. They're not real big scoring machines in the first quarter, but the second quarter, they put up a lot of points. So far, Fort Valley has put up 110 and Albany State 78 points.
Williams trying to find a receiver, but incomplete. Little short. Second time he's throwing it short. Jordan, the intended receiver.
Yeah, again, these teams are real big score machines in the second quarter. You see Albany State trying to get themselves on track. Just underthrown ball right there by Williams. But again, Fort Valley, Albany State, big second quarter scoring teams. Fort Valley has put up in 9 games 110 points in the second quarter, and Albany State has put up 78 points in 9 games. So look for some electricity in the second quarter.
Inside run goes nowhere fast. Making the big play is Majesty Hansberry for Fort Valley. And you can see he's hyped up.
Yeah, Hansberry had his name called twice. Again, Fort Valley defense, they have been able to do what they need to do to keep this team in title contention.
Third and long, bubble screen, flag is thrown. Habersham gets the first down, but this may all be coming back. He's out to about the 45, but that flag was thrown in the formation of that bubble screen.
Usually it could be a hold. They ran a screen. Could be a hold.
And you can hear Coach Gardenia saying, what did he do?
Now, I like the screenplay. The screenplay is very good against a team that's very aggressive. In Fort Valley, they are very aggressive, just as well as Albany State is aggressive. Fort Valley did the shuttle pass, had a big run on it. Albany State came back with the traditional screen pass and had success on it. So that is a great play to call when you want to slow down the rush of an opposing defense.
Now 3rd and 25. They really need to get close to midfield for a first. And they may be able to do that on the legs of Tracy Scott, who's able to get some of those yards back out to about the 25.
Yeah, Tracy Scott, he's another one of those dual threats that Albany State uses in their run game. That's why they're number 1 in the SIAC running the ball. Between Tracy Scott and McKinley Habersham, Albany State, they ground and pound. And that's why their defense is so good, because they run the ball, which eats up clock and allows their defense to rest.
Always well rested is that Albany State defense. Punting situation, Belinas back deep to kick. He has already kicked 2 inside the 10 for the Golden Rams. This one will be well short of that. Fair catch, ball was fumbled. It's loose. It looks like it could be Albany State. They're pointing like they have it, but Fort Valley is also doing that. A scrum for the football. And now the officials are trying to get in there and see who has it.
Yeah, you don't see Albany State jumping up and down, so there's always an indication that the opposing team got the ball back.
And they are having a conference to see exactly who has the football. So someone was blocked into the kicker.
Yeah, sometimes we have a strong rush, a good get off by the defensive end. We're going to see it coming out your corner.
Yeah, he was pushed.
Like they pushed him, and he slid in to second base a little bit there and just nipped the punter. But, hey, good acting by the punter. Anybody touch you, go down.
And
go down. That's what they're taught. Go down if anybody touches you.
If they get close, go down. Huh?
Go down. If they breathe on you, go down. But on the other flip side, as a punt returner, you got to catch that ball. You know, that is an easy turnover that you don't want to give your opponent.
Jones gives to Clark, and Clark is able to get some positive yards out to the 45. Jamari Clark, he'll play a little running back. They'll split him out and play a little receiver. He's known as the B-back position for Fort Valley.
To the 44.
Second and 6. Once again, running the football, and looks like Clark has enough for a first down. Bringing him down on the tackle was Deontay Jackson.
Yeah, you know, Fort Valley is not really that big and stout at the running back position, so you're not going to really see them pounded between the A and the B gap, which is usually on the side of the tight end and the center and the guard. Fort Valley is like 10th in the SIAC when it comes to rushing the ball.
Hey, if it's working, keep going. Normally they'll pass it, but once again, another carry for Jamari Clark out to midfield. Fort Valley leaning on what they normally don't do, which is run the football.
Again, don't have that big guy to go up between the guard and the center, so we're going to take Clark. We're going to use his athletic ability, his speed, his quickness, and let's try to get to the outside and pick up some positive yards that way. Fort Valley's averaging around 50 yards a game.
And we come to the end of the first quarter, no score, but what we have seen is two teams in blue and gold in search of a divisional title, and they have left it all out on the field. We'll have more coming up right here on ESPN. Stay tuned.
And personalized advice to help turn your ambitions into action. What would you like the power to do?
The majestic Chattahoochee River, it runs through Alabama, Georgia, all the way down to Florida. Some people in the backwoods, they'll call it the Hooch. The Chattahoochee River right there in the city of Columbus, runs right through the city, separates Columbus from Phoenix City, Alabama. Second quarter begins. Fort Valley on the drive, getting some pressure on the back end, and is sacked. Big play by Albany State. John Kelly, the junior, makes a big play to start the second quarter.
Yeah, John Kelly gets on the back of Jones. Jones goes down. You want to know what the biggest difference between your regular starter and your backup? Well, Slade Jarman, 8 games, 2,000 yards, 18 touchdowns, 260 yards averaging a game. Your backup Jones, 5 games, 434 yards, almost 90 yards a game. That's a big difference.
Huge difference. Fleming on the carry, and he tries to get some of those yards back from the sack, but doesn't go anywhere fast. May have gained 1 on the carry.
So that's why it's important for Fort Valley to be able to run the ball consistently. Even though they may not pick up yards, they still have to run the ball because it takes pressure off of Jones, who, again, is stepping in for Slade Jarman, who basically is leading the SIAC in passing.
broke his leg 2 weeks ago, out for the remainder of the season. Some people were saying he could have been vying for Offensive Player of the Year in the SIAC with the performance he had until his injury. Now Jones is getting hit, and he dumps it out to Fleming, and that was his undoing because all those blue shirts were right there and quickly wrapped him up. Good play by Malik Barnes, just a freshman playing that banded back.
Yeah, you see Jones shaking his head, clapping his hand after his play right here. Hey, can't do anything with it. I'm going to throw the ball, I'm going to pitch it, give it to Fleming. Fleming said, what you throwing it to me for? I'm trying to block for you. But that's one of them plays where you get all that pressure around you, and as a young quarterback, you're trying to make something happen, and you just try to do what you can. On that particular play, it was the wrong thing to do. And really, he couldn't throw the ball away because it would have been intentional ground. He was still inside the tackles.
Getting some pressure. It's blocked. Blocked by Albany State. On the return, special teams will score the first touchdown of the game. Great play by Albany State with the block and the return. James Hawkins gets the crowd on their feet.
That was a big play for Albany State. Big play. You got all three phases, offense, defense. Now they get their special teams in. Hawkins comes up with the ball. He actually blocked it, picked it up. What they call it in hockey, they call it the triple play, trifecta. He blocked it, scooped it, and then scored with it. So Albany State's offense, special teams, puts the first points of the day on the board. The hat trick. That's what they call it in hockey, the hat trick.
When you score 3 times, that's correct. And the point after attempt by Bolinas is good. Mike Green on the hold. And right now it is Albany State who is playing the positive song because, yes, block and then scoop and score by the special team. And Bolinas on for the kicking duties, but not after special teams showed up in a major way. James Hawkins got the block and the scoop and score to get the Golden Rams on the board first. And when you're in Division II football, you really don't get a lot of time to rest because now Hawkins is back out there for special teams on the kickoff.
Hey, lining it up and kicking it off again. Hey, but you know what's going to be so unique about this game? I'm going to tell you in a few.
Return will not happen, goes into the end zone and out of bounds. And there's a flag. We got a lot of hard hitting going on this afternoon here at A.J. McClung Stadium.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you about the uniqueness about this Fountain City Classic and this Albany State Fort Valley State game. Doesn't matter who scores. You're going to hear the bands play pretty much the same song. I'm so glad. Mm-hmm. So check that out.
Called on Brian Williams for a late hit out of bounds, and you see the ball, it goes, and then coming into your screen now, hello.
Yeah, you know, well.
And that was Mr. Hawkins who he hit, the person who scored the touchdown for the Golden Rams.
Got the hat trick.
So I think he was saying, thank you for that score. Let me give you another.
Payback. Got to get back. But paid back at the wrong time, penalized his team. Got to be smart. You got to know when to play, and when the whistle blows, slow it down, guys.
Jones on the keeper. Now he's finding some room and is close to the first down before he's brought down. And, yeah, we're going to have some rock'em and sock'em. Just like that game, rock'em, sock'em.
Yeah, you're going to see Fort Valley. They're going to try to do anything they can to get the ball run on the ground. You're going to see Jones run it. You're going to see Clark run it. You're going to see Flemings run the ball, number 30. So you got to run the ball. Even though they're a great passing team, you still got to mix in the run.
And this time goes nowhere fast is Clark and brought down by big number 55, Malik Barnes. Coach says he can be special. He's just a freshman, and he really doesn't know his potential because he goes full speed every play.
Yeah, anytime you can get a freshman to put out like this, is if I'm Coach G. Gardenia, I'm excited because he's going to continue to add electricity to my defense. So keep your eyes for years to come on Barnes, number 55.
Jones getting pressure. He is hit when he throws and is incomplete. He was getting pressure on both sides and was sandwiched on that play.
Yeah, great coverage by Albany State. Allows the D-line, the rush to get there. Jones looking, surveys the field, nowhere to throw. He ends up taking a hit. He'll remember that one next time.
Oh, yeah. Get it out a little earlier.
Yeah, and you know, and that's what you want to do. You want to, anytime you get an opportunity to tee off on the quarterback, you want to try to hit him. That allows him and makes him think about the rush every time he drops back.
Mashburn, almost blocked again. And it will take a Wildcat bounce and is down at about the 39-yard line. And that's where the Wildcats will take over as they trail 7-0 here at the 30th annual Fountain City Classic. Coach G's defense is playing stellar, shutting out the number one scoring offense in the SIAC. And now their offense on the field for Albany State, they want to try to get an offensive touchdown rather than special teams. Interception by Fort Valley. Big play by the defense. And they are celebrating. Michael Hicks Jr. with the pick.
Yeah, you see Keyless, he was actually dropping back, trying to get the ball to Jordan, but Hicks steps in front of it, picks it off, and you saw number 20, Board from Albany State, telling Keyless after that play, hey, don't worry about it, calm it down, watch where you're throwing.
The turnover hammer shows its face here in the second quarter, and Hicks is the first one to hammer it down. Jones back on the field trying to get something started for his squad. They trail 7-0 here at the 30th annual Fountain City Classic.
Last time Fort Valley had a sudden change, they went deep with the ball. Let's see if they try to go deep with a big play. Most teams tried this.
Flare pass out to Contavious Thomas, and he is brought down not before he gets about a 4- and 5-yard gain.
And usually plays like that open up Jones to Thomas right there, because most offenses, when they get a sudden change, a certain type of turnover on their side of the 50, you normally see them throw the ball deep. Albany State probably realized that. Defensive coordinator called a safe defense, and they stayed back.
Keeper Jones finds some room to run, and looks like he has enough for the first.
So again, with Fort Valley, you're going to see a lot of quarterback draws. Anything you can do to try to get the ball run on the ground. Here Jones, quarterback keeper, goes up the middle, picks up some positive yards for Fort Valley. Got the check with me offense again, trying to check and see what is the best play. They normally have a couple of plays called. Look to the sideline. Let's get the best play run.
Slings it into traffic, and that young man, Jalen Bush, right there to bat the ball away from Griffin Watley, the intended receiver.
Yeah, again, Jones drops back, feels the pressure coming off the end, throws it just a little bit in front of the receiver, Jalen Bush.
Just a senior from Albany, saying, I'm just going to come to Columbus and play my heart out. Punting situation for Fort Valley. Mashburn. It will take a Albany bounce and goes out of bounds. Mashburn wants that one back as his team trails 7-0. We'll be back with more football action right here on ESPN.
Full state of doneness. So let's get after it. What would you like the power to do?
Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl Trophy, sponsored by Cricket Wireless, and the tour is going on right now. And this is a championship game between the SWAC and MEAC schools. And Tyrone, you said, well, what about the SIAC?
Yeah, why is it in the SIAC? We don't need to see that if you're not going to let us join the party.
And that party is in Atlanta later on in December. You can watch it on ABC, Celebration Bowl. Right now, the Fountain City Classic with Albany State Golden Rams with a 7-0 lead. Defense has been center stage and special teams. Special teams touchdown is what we have as to separate these two teams so far. Both offensives have moved the ball but unable to get into the end zone. Callias Williams, starting quarterback, has been battling injuries. And this time he's going to give it to Tracy Scott. And Scott goes nowhere fast, and a little extra pushing and shoving. Both teams in blue and gold are just trying to exchange pleasantries, Tyrone.
Yeah, that, on that particular play right there, James, that's a play right there that has to happen quick. Any type of hesitation right there with William, you saw he barely got the ball into Scott's what they call breadbasket, and Scott probably, that was the reason why he didn't make that play turn into a big play. But offenses, plays have to be like bang, bang. Everything happens so quick.
Third down. Almost intercepted Nico Winham on the coverage, and he could have had one and went all the way to the house.
Winham, Nico, that one there hit him where they say if it hits your hand, look like he tried to catch it almost with his arms. Yeah, if Nico had just stuck his hands out there and snatched that ball, he probably could have been going the other way. Pick six.
And, yeah, he wants that one. And it looks like that hand is bothering him a little bit now.
Yeah, that ball might have got a piece of those fingers.
Bolinas back to punt. We've already had one block punt by Albany State. That's our only score so far. Fort Valley tries, but good coverage and blocking by Albany State. Return by Malik Rouch, and he doesn't go anywhere fast, but he does secure the football for the Wildcats.
Now look at Malik's shoes. You want to say blue and gold Fort Valley? Look at it. Got one gold shoe and one blue shoe.
Now, you're a fashion-forward guy, Tyrone. Would you go on the field with one blue, one gold?
Now, I'm going to tell you a story. Actually, my rookie year in the NFL, I would play with one glove on and one glove off. So I think everybody has their fashion, but that's pretty unique right there.
Now, why were you trying to do your Michael Jackson?
Maybe that's what I was doing, huh? Thinking I was Michael Jackson. Because this is Thriller. Just like this game, it's a thriller. Fort Valley, Albany State. Beat it. Somebody going to beat somebody, huh?
Going to happen. Fort Valley now on offense. Jones throws, catch, and has to pay the price. Jalen Bush is right there to smack down Bridges. Reception made, and Bush is saying, I'm still the strongest man on the field.
You want to say tackle? You want to see what tackle to catch means? Boom, tackle to catch. That's what tackle to catch means. Receiver did not even have an opportunity to try to advance the ball. That's a great play by Bush. We've called his name several times. I wonder how many scouts up in the stands looking at Bush from the NFL.
They may be looking at him after this performance. Second down. Check that, 1st and 10. Jones this time once again finding Bridges, and Bush a little late. Not able to separate Bridges from the ball. Bridges now is saying, you know what? You're not hurting me.
Well, you know, Bridges is a great receiver. You got Bush. He's a great DB. You got a quarterback, Jones, delivering the ball a little high. But anytime you got competition going on like that between DB and receiver, you got to get that ball down a little bit lower, Jones, so we can let Bridges see what he can do once he catches the ball. But right now, Jalen Bush is saying, hey, anytime you catch it, I'm going to hit you.
1st and 10 near midfield. Jones getting some pressure on the backside, trying to outrun it, breaks the line of scrimmage into Albany State territory, and he escapes because he had a Golden Ram chasing him down.
Oh, Taylor Scott, he was trying to get him. He was trying to get Jones, but Jones showed a little bit of his speed. You see Scott right there chasing. Watch how Jones picks up his speed. Really doesn't see Scott. He just turns it on and picks up positive yards for Fort Valley.
Another 1st down for the Wildcats. And timeout called by Albany State. Smart timeout because Fort Valley is starting to get in rhythm. When we come back, we'll see if that rhythm can be broken by the Albany State defense. But right now, DeMonte Jones and company's got it rolling.
To help turn your ambitions into action. What would you like the power to do?
Packed house at A.J. McClung Stadium, and yes, they're getting a wave going on at A.J. McClung Memorial Stadium. And yes, Albany State Fort Valley, one of the hidden gems, and we're happy at ESPN to present it to you live from Columbus, Georgia.
Always a packed house.
30 years and running. Jones, this time he gets not able to get free, and he is brought down by that Albany State defense.
Yeah, again, Albany State defense. You want to know why they're ranked number 1 in the SIAC? Look at it. Nowhere for Jones to step up. He can't roll to his right. He got a guy containing. He can't step up. You got someone pushing the pocket. Down goes Jones.
Good play by Stephon Pierre and company.
Yeah, Pierre, he's actually 5th on Albany State's defense with tackles with a total of 30.
And we have a flag on the play. And it will move Fort Valley forward into Albany State territory. And Coach G, affectionately called Coach G, Gardenia, he is not happy about that one. 1st and 10 for the Wildcats in Albany State territory at the 30. Catch made by Fort Valley and moves the chains. Jeff Mack on the reception.
Yeah, you see Jones look to his left here, his initial receiver. Great job by Jones coming back to his second read. Davis, Mack, Jeffrey Mack, who was wide open.
Nice pitch and catch again. Close enough for another 1st down. A.J. Shipman on the reception.
Yeah, Jones looked like he's getting a little bit of momentum going here. He threw it to Mack across the middle. Now he comes back, sits back, loads it up, and throws the ball to Shipman. Now Fort Valley's inside the red zone looking to get into that blue and gold of Albany State's end zone.
They can get a first without scoring. And this time on the outside run is Jamari Clark. And he is quickly wrapped up by a host of defenders. But leading the way is Deshaun Rosser, who plays that outside linebacker position.
That's a great play by Albany State. They actually had someone, whenever you're playing against a team that runs the option, you got to have someone on the pitch, you got to have someone on the quarterback, and that's exactly what Albany State did on that particular play. They had someone at the quarterback and someone at the pitch man, and Jones and company really couldn't do anything with that play.
2nd and 9. Clark, this time he goes nowhere fast. Right there, Deontay Jackson was the first person to touch him and help slow him down.
Yeah, Jamari Clark, running back, 5'10", 195. You know, he's that type of guy, again, you want to put him on the edge, let him use his speed. Even though he's 195, the big guys are the guys that you want to pound it in between the tackles. But Clark can do it and continue to look for Fort Valley to rely on him to be able to run that ball between the tackles and outside the tackles.
3rd and 9. Jones on the keeper, has some room to run, gets down to the 5-yard line before he's upended, and looks like there is a flag on the play. Coimba Jones with the tackle. TJ Faust, the person called on that infraction. He stands 6'6", 310 pounds, transferred from Savannah State. Big number 77.
Yeah, on that last play, you know, Jones, number 5, he made that play. The reason why he made that play, he's always around the ball. He leads Albany State with tackles on defense. Keep your eye on Jones, number 5, for Albany State.
Timeout called by the Golden Rams. Crucial play for the Wildcats. Could be a crucial stop for Albany State. 3:08 left to play. This game has been moving at a good pace because both teams' offenses are going up and down the field, but only a special teams touchdown separates them. Let's take a look at the standings. And in the West, going on today also, Tuskegee taking on Miles College. Winner will represent the West. And in the East, you see Savannah State. We should have a circle there. They are ineligible for the championship because they just dropped down from FCS football. But Fort Valley and Albany State, both their losses went from Savannah State. And we saw Fort Valley State fall to Savannah State last week. But you see the standings right here. 2 teams enter. 1 team will leave as Eastern Division champions and represent the East in the SIAC championship game, in which the Eastern team will host this year.
Yeah, you know, on this particular play, this timeout right here, James, I think it's going to be very interesting to see how Fort Valley is going to play this. It's 3rd and 18, the ball's on the 19. They're either going to try to throw for the end zone, or they're going to try to get some positive yards to make it a little bit closer for a field goal attempt. But based off of how the kick went last time they attempted, I would try to think that they have probably try to go to the end zone.
3rd and long. Catch made, and looks like he is close to the first, maybe a little short is Shamal Bridges. Bush right there on the tackle along with Coimba Jones. And you see Bush right there saying 4th down.
Yeah, again, Fort Valley. Jones drops back, shoulder up. You know he's going deep. Bridges catches the ball. Jones and Bush deny him the end zone. Fort Valley, 4th down, settling for a field goal.
Remember, they can get a first down without scoring. It is 4th and 1. They are lining up to go for it on 4th down. They just need a yard to continue the drive. Timeout called by Fort Valley. And, you know, this is not checkers, this is chess. And they are taking their time because they know every opportunity to score will be very precious in this game.
Yeah, you know, sometimes in situations like this in football, it's an intense moment. It's 4th and 1. You know the defense is revved up. This is the time when the offense comes out and you kind of hear that quarterback cadence get deeper. They try to make the D-line jump off sides. And I'm pretty sure that's what their defensive coordinator is telling the defense. No one jump, watch the ball, don't give them a free first down. And on Fort Valley side, basically they're saying if we're going to run this play, we're going to get this first down. And that just shows how much confidence Coach Porter has in his offense, how much confidence he has in Jones, Clark, Bridges, Walker, their offensive line. to go for it in this particular situation here.
All right, this is what you live for the 30th annual Fountain City Classic. 4th and 1. They can get a first down without scoring.
I would think you put the quarterback on the center.
Option out to Clark. Clark is upended, but he has enough for the first down. He does not score. They say no. They say he is not close enough. And we got to wait and see. It looks like he had enough for the first.
Yeah, maybe the referee was thinking it was 4th down and they had to score. But we're going to see where the ball is placed.
And it is first down for Fort Valley. And I think that referee's like, want to get away?
Yeah. On this particular play right here, yes, Clark is a kind of an option type. But I'm like, if I'm Fort Valley, I'm going to put my center up under, my quarterback up under the center and make Albany State play the quarterback keeper. And if I want to option it, that would be a wide open play. But nevertheless, Fort Valley gets the first down.
First and goal. Clark still in the backfield along with Jones. Option play, keeper for Jones. And they say no, he does not get in. He is down at about the half-yard line is DeMonte Jones.
During the season, they have what they call goal line offense, goal line defense. And this is really what this is. This is goal line offense, goal line and goal line defense. Is mono against mono, offensive line against the D-line. Who's the best right here?
Staying in the shotgun, and that was his undoing. He has brought down Brandon Manuel right there to get the tackle, the big nose guard, able to make a play. But now we have a player down for Albany State holding his ankle.
Again, when your quarterback is not up under the center, the D-line automatically, they are not thinking quarterback keeper. They're playing all your other particular routes that you run from the gun. So if I'm Fort Valley, put the quarterback up under the center, make the D-line look for the actual quarterback keeper.
Number 30, Stephon Pierre, is the player who is down, the young man, sophomore from Tallahassee, and he is up and walking. 6'3", 200-pound, plays the linebacker position, inside linebacker position for Albany State, and he is gingerly walking off. Injuries have riddled this team. They have had at least 7 guys who've gone out with ACL injuries. They've had a couple of guys with broken bones, but in the end, they've been able to stand firm and put themselves in this position to, if a win, they'll win the East and go back to the SIAC championship game. Standing in their way, DeMonte Jones and Fort Valley now looking at a 3rd and goal from the 2.
The key going to be, does Fort Valley go for it on 4th down here? They went for it on 4th down and picked up the first just previously. Now, if they get 4th down on the 2 or the 1, do they kick a field goal or go for it if they don't get it in on this 3rd down play here?
Less than a minute to play. Wildcats trail the Golden Rams by 7.
Again, the quarterback is in the gun.
Timeout called by Albany State. They wanted to see the formation, and they call a timeout. You have co-defensive coordinators for Albany State, Nick Rivez and Denaris Waits. Co-defensive coordinators for Coach Gardenia. Gardenia is known as an offensive line aficionado. And he has co-defensive coordinators, and he is hoping that they can draw up something to stop this onslaught on this drive by Fort Valley.
If I'm Albany State defensive players, I'm thinking of 3 plays basically that Fort Valley can run from the gun. They're either going to give a direct draw run up between the guard and center, or they're going to allow Jones to fake the run and try to keep it on the edge, or they're going to come with the option. And we saw how Albany State played the option very well last time Fort Valley tried it.
3rd and goal, ball on the 2. Throws a bullet, incomplete, flag is thrown, and looks like Tyler Scott may be called for the pass interference. May have had a hand on the body of the receiver.
If it's pass interference, they get a fresh set of downs. Again, you see Jones drops back. Fort Valley elects to go for the pass. Right here, it's almost like you got to let them play ball. Really didn't see too much contact going on, but great coverage by Albany State. Great coverage by Scott, but it's a flag on the play, which gives Fort Valley a fresh set of downs. And now this 39-second actually looks like almost 2 minutes because Fort Valley can spike the ball and stop the clock if need be.
First and goal. Looks like a messed up play, and he tries to stretch it as DeMonte Jones, but he is short. He may have gained a half a yard on that one, but that was just a botched play. Looks like they got their lines crossed.
Yeah, busted play. Clark goes to the left. Jones thinking he's going to go to the right. I think that was supposed to be a running play to the right side, but Clark goes the opposite way. Again, Jones is coming in. Slade Jarman is the trigger man. He's injured. Jones comes in. So it's really kind of hard to tell who was wrong. Either Jones was wrong or Clark, but one of them went the wrong way.
No doubt about it. And now you see Coach Porter talking to his offense, trying to let them know, hey, we got to get this one in.
Yeah, again, this is where you got to have that veteran leadership. You got to have that understanding of situational football. And again, with your guy like Slade Jarman being in the game, he probably will have the offense really understanding the situation. And this is where Jones has to step up and have that same type of command, that same type of captain leadership. Tell the offense when they call that play, we're going to score. And every man carry out their job, do their duty, sacrifice, and we'll get this ball into the end zone.
And we see the fans are getting into it. This is where legends are made. Second and goal, 31 seconds. If Albany State's defense can hold here, it will strike the momentum out of the Wildcats going into halftime.
Fort Valley got 3 downs to try to score.
Fleming in the game as running back for the Wildcats. Jones. And he overthrows the intended receiver, Shamar Bridges, and looks like we'll have another flag, possibly on Jalen Boyd. Now, Tyrone, it looks like their friend is the clock, because each time all they do is say half the distance to the goal, new set of downs.
Again, you see Jones throwing the ball over here to Bridges. He's the tallest guy. Bridges, again, big and tall, trying to get the ball to him, 6'5", 210. You got Scott and trying to defend, he and Boyd trying to defend that alley-oop play to Bridges.
Give to Fleming. And finally gets in for the score as Marlon Fleming, and Fort Valley is on the board. Touchdown.
Now, one thing about a defense that I will always say, a defense plays off of energy. It plays, once that energy leaves, that strength leaves, eventually the offense is going to punch it in. Albany State gave Fort Valley another set of fresh downs, and it was just, you just knew that Albany State defense was going to cave.
Point after attempt by Mashburn is no good. And even with the defensive stop and the touchdown by Fleming, Albany State still has a 1-point lead. And this is the fourth down play that extended the drive. Jamari Clark goes airborne. And then Marlon Fleming caps it off with an extra push into the end zone for the Wildcats. And touchdown, but no point after attempt. So Albany, with 22 seconds left, you see Fleming happy that he scored, but now they trail only by a point. But for the Golden Rams, I think they may go in thinking, hey, we sent a message. You're not just going to walk into our end zone.
Well, they sent a message, but also Fort Valley sent a message as well, stating that we can move the ball on Albany State. And that's why you see a low-scoring game. Both teams are playing great defenses.
Up back will smartly down the ball at about the 40-yard line. That's where Albany State's offense will take over. 22 seconds. Albany is not known to throw the ball deep, but Calais Williams has been throwing it around today.
Yeah, you know, it'll be interesting to see if they just take this first down and just kneel it and take it in, or would they try to see if they could pick up a big gain and try to come back and run some type of 2-minute offense and maybe try to squeeze 3 points off of the board.
.21 seconds, ball at their own 37 are the Rams. Inside run to Habersham. McKinley Habersham gets close to midfield. 13 seconds left, and looks like he will have enough for the first. They'll move the chains and start the clock back up again. And with less than 10 seconds, will they get another play off? One last play, give to Habersham, and Habersham is trying to go off to the races. He's still up, but eventually brought down. He gets some yardage, but not enough for a touchdown and no flags, which means that they'll go into the locker room with a 1-point lead, 7-6 in favor of the Golden Rams, but the Wildcats are right on their hip. When we come back, we'll start halftime. Coach Porter and company trying to find out what they can do in order to grab the lead, but it's been a rock'em sock'em game, blocks and scores. You're watching SIAC Football right here on ESPN. Welcome back to ESPN's coverage of the SIAC, the 30th annual Fountain City Classic, live from Columbus, Georgia. Right now in front of you is the Fort Valley State Blue Machine Marching Band. Enjoy. Packed house at A.J. McClung Stadium. Halftime, Albany State with a 7-6 lead over Fort Valley State at the 30th annual Fountain City Classic. This is an entire week of events, and earlier this week was the annual luncheon. And you see all the sponsors, Coach Porter right there for Fort Valley. And, you know, you got to talk it up, and the student athletes had an opportunity to get up and do a little poking of the bear, so to speak. And all of the sponsors there, we congratulate all the sponsors for sponsoring this event. 30 years and counting. Coach G for Albany State right there. You see the student athletes center stage today, but they were at the luncheon to promote the event. 7-6 is your score in favor of the Golden Rams of Albany State. When we come back, more halftime right here on ESPN.
The world's never gotten enough of it. So, we proudly bring you more of it. The new 911. Timeless machine.
Welcome back to ESPN's coverage of the SIAC halftime at the 30th annual Fountain City Classic. Albany State with a 7-6 lead. Halftime is always a fun time at this classic. And in front of you now is the Albany State University Golden Ram Marching Show Band. Enjoy.
of doneness. So let's get after it. What would you like the power to do?
Sun is still shining bright at historic A.J. McClung Stadium. Albany State with a 7-6 lead at the 30th annual Fountain City Classic. Welcome back, everybody. James Barrett along with Tyrone. Tyrone Poole, you've played in this game, but this seems like this is more of a grudge match than what you were used to when you were playing with the Wildcats.
Well, actually, football is still the football game. Now, I played against a lot of games where Albany State, Fort Valley State, whichever team won was going to win the SIAC. No different from today's game. Two teams playing for a championship game.
Let's take a look at the first half highlights. Seems as though every play was a precursor to something to come later. Looks like it was a tip punt, and then the Albany State player inadvertently touches it. It remains in favor of Fort Valley, and then an interception by Bush, which will give Albany State the ball back. They would eventually turn it over on downs, and then defense would step up big and sack DeMonte Jones, and then a big block. And then that would cause for a return for Albany State, which is their only score of the game. James Hawkins with the block and the touchdown. And then defense steps up big. But then it would be Fort Valley with an interception, which would eventually lead to a big play on fourth down, trying to keep the drive alive. Jamari Clark dives and gets the first. And eventually Malcolm Flemings with the touchdown. Point after attempt was no good. And taking a look at first half stats, not a lot of offense for the Golden Rams, but their special teams to save the day.
Well, this is not a traditional game I would believe Albany State wants to play, particularly rushing, only 63-yard rushing. So look for them to pick it up. But look at that passing, only 5 yards. I believe the pass sets up the run, just like the run sets up the pass.
So if you're Fort Valley State, how do you try to come back in this game? You've gotten some offensive, opportunities, but you haven't been able to cash in.
Well, I think more the comeback is on Albany State. They're not playing the game that they want to play. Fort Valley State, I think they're playing the game they want to play. Of course, they don't have Slade Jarman, so they're playing the game they want to play. Albany State has to come back, and they got to run that ball. That's what they do.
They're holding on to a 1-point lead against Fort Valley. The winner moves on to the SIAC championship game next week, which if you win in this game, you get to host the SIAC championship game. How important is it for Albany State, if they want to win, try to get the running game started consistently?
Well, that's what they do. They lead the SIAC in rushing. Their passing is really non-existent. Again, in the opening of the show, we both noted that Albany State does not have a receiver in the top 10 in receiving in the SIAC. So that tells you how much they really rely on their passing game.
Well, if you're Fort Valley, you've got the momentum right now. You feel as if that you're ready to roll. You see Coach G here for Albany State. I know he had some time to talk to his players, but if you're Fort Valley, do you think, hey, I'm holding all the cards right now because I did end the first half with a score?
No, with a 7-6 score, no one's holding no cards. It's almost like you're coming back in the second half, just like the first opening game of the game, 0-0. So 1 point, that's really nothing to really say, hey, we got this game in hand. You have to come back and continue to play your game with slight adjustments along the way.
Fort Valley on the return. And ball is on the ground. Albany State is saying that they have it. And for Fort Valley, they're saying that it was the ground. It was the ground. And once again, we've got another scrum for the football on the pile. And, being in the bottom of those piles can sometimes be scary. And let's just take a look.
Again, we see the opening kickoff. The ball does come out. And this is the thing about college football, the instant replay. If there's an instant replay, you would automatically, if I'm the head coach, throw that challenge flag and say, hey, if I'm Albany State, that ball looked like it was on its way out before route went to the ground. But that's the thing about college football. There is no instant replay.
In Division II. Now, FCS and FBS, they do have instant replay. but not at the Division II level yet.
It'll be making its way.
Oh, yeah. Retaining possession is Fort Valley, and Jones is trying to throw it, but he is sacked. Big play by a big man, number 91, stepping up big for Albany State.
Here we go. Albany State just has a four-man rush, enough to put pressure on the quarterback. Jones nowhere to go. Why? Nowhere to throw the ball, because Albany State is sitting back in the zone, and they're covering every area where Jones wanted to throw the ball, which allowed the D-line to get there and get that sack.
Second sack of the day for Joseph Davis. Run now by Clark, and he's able to get a lot of those yards back plus, which will bring up a third down situation.
Now, this is what Fort Valley is going to have to do. They're going to have to establish that run with Clark. They're going to have to establish that run with Fleming and also Jones on a couple of quarterback keepers. That in itself wears down the defense, and then you come back and allow Jones to try to get the ball over the top to guys like Walker and Bridges down the field deep.
3rd and 5, they're trying to bring a blitz. Good job by the offensive line to pick it up. Bridges right there on the reception, but they say that he is short of the first down, and that man is right there again, Jalen Bush, on coverage.
Yeah, Albany State came with a blitz right there, knowing that it's going to be man-to-man, but Albany State is betting that because Jones is going to see that blitz, the receivers are traditionally taught whenever they see a blitz, they have to shorten up their routes. And on that particular play, the blitz came, receivers shorten up their routes. Albany State tackles the catch. Now Fort Valley's punting the ball.
Eli Mashburn handles all of the kicking duties for the Wildcats. Pressure. Blocked again. Second block of the day. Going into the end zone. Ball is still loose. Who has it? No indication yet. Touchdown, Albany State. And who is there? Johnny on the spot again, James Hawkins. It seems like on special teams, James Hawkins is unblockable.
Well, I think Fort Valley, they should have fixed that the first time it happened. Same identical situation. You see the up-backs, they all shift to the right side, which allows Hawkins to come scot-free, unblocked, untouched off that right side. We see right here, you see the blockers go to the left. Hawkins comes wide open. Didn't really have to lay out for the ball. Same way he did the first time. Got his hands on the ball, did the hat trick again. The block, the scoop, the score.
Point after attempt is good. You don't need your offense to play well when you've got a young man named James Hawkins, because when he steps up in a major way. For the second time this afternoon, block, scoop, and the eventual score right here on ESPN.
So, we proudly bring you more of it. The new 911. Timeless machine.
Turnovers have been the Achilles heel for Fort Valley. Block, and once again, James Hawkins scoops, and he goes into the end zone for the initial score for Albany State. And then just happened a minute ago, Hawkins again, Johnny on the spot, and this time after the scrum, he ends up with the football and his second score of the afternoon for James Hawkins.
Now, you know what they call that? They call that great film study. The Albany State coaching staff, they studied the film, saw that weakness in Fort Valley's punt coverage, and now they have exploited it. And Hawkins is a recipient of the exploitation of Fort Valley's punt team.
Coach Gardenia said that you got to make sure every aspect of your team plays well. Route on the return. Route trying to find a route to score. Flag is thrown at about the 27-yard line. Good return for Malik Route.
99% of the time, that is against the return team. Holding or illegal block.
Flag on the return.
And let's see what the official call will be. Holding pushes that hard work by route back 10, and you see Coach G still not showing any signs that he's happy, but he's definitely thinking about what's next and how his defense can continue to agitate this young man right here, DeMonte Jones.
Well, I can say this now. This is a very important drive for Fort Valley State. They have to take this ball and get some type of points during this drive. If not, I think Albany State will come back with the momentum and try to create more points.
Jones flare out to Clark, and Clark this time able to get some positive yards, some of those yards that were lost on the holding penalty before he's brought down.
Yeah, again, a little flare pass. You see Jamari Clark goes out. You saw Jones try to look off the linebackers, flip it out to Clark. Clark picks up as much as he can. You see he's holding on to that ball, making sure no more turnovers. That has been Fort Valley's Achilles heel, the turnovers.
Two key
penalties.
turnovers that have led to 14 points for Albany State. Clark. And this time he is wrapped up for a loss.
See, this is why you need that big guy to run that ball in between the guard, center, guard, tackle, because those are big offensive linemen. Those guys are like, they can bench like the back end of your car. So if you're not big enough, an arm tackle will bring you down. That's what that big downhill running back allows you to do.
On 3rd and 1, and looks like it was another fumble after the smackdown hit, and Albany State is right there to get a fumble recovery, and DeMonte Jones is a little upset. More flags are thrown, and DeMonte Jones was not happy and showed it by exerting his fist forward.
Now that could be very detrimental to Fort Valley, because if Jones get thrown out the game, they're already down to their second string quarterback. Who do they have left? Again, we take a look at it here. Jones keeps the ball. Great head-on hit by Compton. Right there, Compton comes up, lays that helmet on the shoulder pads on Jones. The ball comes out. Great play. And that is not what you want.
Oh,
the guy made a big play. You just gotta play. I'm pretty sure what the coaches tell him, you cannot get emotional in a game like this. No matter what he does, you can't. There's no explanation for it. You got to play the game.
And let's see what the official call will be.
That hurt Fort Valley big time. He's actually been disqualified. So that there, he was the Fort Valley State passing game, which is their strength, was already suffering because of Jarman's injury. Now Jones has just hurt his team again by being thrown out.
And his reaction?
Again, cooler heads have to prevail, especially in a game like this, a rivalry game. You know, Albany State, Fort Valley State. You got to understand, like you said earlier, James, this is chess, not checkers. You got to be able to control your emotions. Now Jones has just literally hurt his team dramatically by him being absent.
They do have another quarterback listed, Garrell Quainton, young man from Dublin, Georgia. But right now, Albany State in the catbird seat and in the red zone. Habersham trying to find some room to run. He, on second effort, gets down to about the 1 yard line, about a half yard short. They will call it a touchdown, and now another flag is thrown. And Habersham is dancing a little bit because he's trying to find his shoe.
But usually this is what happens after a dramatic turnover situation, emotion. You know, you got a player down right here. A lot of things are beginning to snowball on Fort Valley's side, but pretty sure Coach Porter's not happy with that.
And right now, Coach Porter out there to check on his player, but let's see Habersham on first effort. He jumps in and goes over the top. And he slaps a player in the face, and that's where the flag goes. Even though it looked like it was just a love tap, that's still a hit.
Yeah, whatever caused that to happen, players have to understand, you know, the second player is always going to get called. Now, you can go back and Aaron Dorr can say, number 8 can say, Albany State player did this to me first, but the referees are never going to see that first guy.
Touchdown number 4.
And let's see Coach Porter's reaction to the call. And a former linebacker at Auburn, you can see he's like, man, this is just football. What are you doing? He didn't hit him that hard. But those are the rules.
Yeah, that's that type of wave where you say, man, that call stinks. But again, cooler heads have to prevail. Coach Porter cannot go out there and control his players' emotions. So you got to keep yourself in check.
Point after attempt by Belinas is good. And what started off as a 7-6 grudge match has exploded here in the third quarter. 14 unanswered points by the Golden Rams. They have a 21-6 lead right here on ESPN.
The world's never gotten enough of it. So, we proudly bring you more of it. The new 911. Timeless machine.
Coach Gabe Giardina, the head coach for Albany State in his third season, trying to get his second consecutive trip to the SIAC championship game. And this year, he'll have the opportunity to host. Last season, they went to Miles College where they were defeated. But now, trying to get their second consecutive Eastern Division title, they need to close out this game in order to punch their ticket. James Redd along with Tyrone Poole. And Tyrone, what we've seen from Fort Valley has been sort of an implosion, particularly emotional.
Yeah, emotionally and turnover-wise. And, you know, when I look at the score, 21 Albany, 6 Fort Valley, you know, you have to think about last year's score, 40-6.
Fair catch called by the up back. And now the officials will be looking at every single push, shove, and hit, because right now we have one player for sure that has been ejected, the starting quarterback, DeMonte Jones for Fort Valley State, which means that number 14, Garrell Quayton, will be the new quarterback, and hopefully he can provide a spark for the Wildcats, but most likely didn't expect to come in and play in this situation.
Yeah, this situation is correct. He's coming into a hostile situation. Down 21-6. They got to throw the ball. He's been on the sideline, really not emotionally in the game, and now he has to step in and take something very hot and do something with it.
Getting some pressure. Quayton takes no time to decide to run and gets back to the line of scrimmage and may have gained one. Albany State players are trying to rip the ball away, but Quayton holding on strong.
Again, there's a reason why you have your first guy, your second guy, your third guy. There's a reason. They all have different skill levels. So, again, it's going to be very imperative that Quentin steps up his game. He has to step up his game big time and become something that a third-string quarterback they didn't really think he could do.
Clark on the outside, looks like more of a slip rather than a hit, but Coimba Jones will take credit for the tackle.
Yeah, almost looked like that snap was going towards Clark. But again, Fort Valley minus a good running game, now minus the productivity at that quarterback position. They're really kind of handicapped.
Quayton on third down, throws it incomplete, had two receivers in the area, but no one was close to the ball.
Now, what Fort Valley is going to have to do with Quayton, they're going to have to actually give him some shorter throws. Give him some throws, 5 yards, 8 yards, some dump offs. Let him kind of get the feel. Don't try to force him to get the ball downfield too soon, because you're actually asking him to do something that he's not quite ready for, and it could equate to some interceptions by Albany State.
Back deep, Javon Wooten for the Golden Rams. Mashburn. They've already blocked two for sure. Now Wooten gets an opportunity to return for the Golden Rams. He catches the ball but goes backwards and is tackled inside the 30-yard line.
Yeah, you see Fort Valley came back and made an adjustment with their punt team and got the ball off actually this time. So, again, Fort Valley defense is going to have to create some turnovers. They're going to have to score on defense if Fort Valley is to get back into this game. Look for Albany State to come out. You see Williams right there. Look for Albany State to come out running the ball with Habersham, number 4, and Tracy Scott, number 22.
Give to Habersham. And second effort by McKinley Habersham gets enough of the first down. Great job by McKinley Habersham, playing in his last classic, the Savannah native, showing why he's the anchor of this offense.
Yeah, big hit right there by Zach Anderson, but he got to wrap up. A running back like Habersham, he's going to take that first lick. He's taught to take that first lick. Never let the first man bring you down. So great lick by Anderson, but not enough to stop number 4 right there, Habersham.
Habersham in his career has been the running back, part-time quarterback, and even the punter. Give again to Habersham, cut back, and this time he's met by a wall of white jerseys. Albert Sharp, among others, right there for the tackle.
Yeah, Fort Valley kind of figured out what Albany State is going to try to do. They're going to try to run the ball. They're going to try to use that massive offensive line to push against Fort Valley's defensive line and run the ball and run the time out the clock. So you're going to start to see Fort Valley do more blitzing to try to create more pressure, fill up those gaps in the running lane, and force Albany State to do something that they're not good at, which is throw the ball.
On 2nd and 8 from the 41 option, Scott on the carry. Check that. That was Rashawn Jordan moving into the running back spot.
Yeah, Rashawn Jordan comes around in a motion type situation to become the pitch man. Fort Valley State not recognizing the option out of that formation. No one's there to take the pitch man. He's able to pick up a first down. Great run by Jordan. Great call by Albany State. Fort Valley just got to do a little bit more recognition and put people in position to have that pitch man.
Inside give. Now here comes Scott. Scott, Tracy Scott, off to the races. Touchdown, Albany State. The Golden Rams score again. $51 yards on that run. Coach G is excited.
Nothing but a hat on hat. Give it to Scott. He makes a little cut to the right side. He's off to the races. Nobody put an arm in.
Where were the defensive backs?
Well, in a play like that, you're in man-to-man. You saw that there was no safety in the middle of the field. Usually when there's no safety in the middle of the field, they are in what we call zero coverage. Everybody's covering a person. It's a great call by Albany State. No one touched him. He's straight off to the run, touchdown.
Even the fans in the berm are getting a little bit of the football love. Tracy Scott gets on the board as this game is getting blown wide open, just like this run, untouched Tracy Scott, 51 yards for the score.
Never gotten enough of it. So, we proudly bring you more of it. The new 911. Timeless machine.
ASU fans like this ASU grandparent, look at it. She is having a good time. Why? Because their Golden Rams are up 28-6, 21-point explosion. And some of the players are even looking like, hey, you know, what's the score of some of those other games? And you see Mike Green, he has on one of those Gronkowski-type braces. He hurt his elbow and has not had an opportunity to play in this game other than being the holder on special teams. That shows a lot. He's injured and he's still being a part of special teams.
Yeah, that type of injury there, it's not fun to have.
Return for Fort Valley. And second push right there. And everybody's like, hey, we need some flags thrown. No flags thrown on that play. And now Garrell Quayton with his second series, unable to do much in his first series, but hopefully now they have a package that can work for the young man.
Yeah, this is where the coaching staff is going to have to be very ingenious as far as giving Quayton opportunity to throw the ball. The junior from Dublin, Georgia, he's going to have to step his game up and get Fort Valley back into this game because they will and have to throw the ball downfield.
Ball at the 22. Getting some pressure, shuttle pass, finds Clark. Clark, he has some speed, and he takes a big hit. Coimba Jones right there to shut the door, but not before Clark was able to get a huge gain and a first down that midfield.
Yeah, good safe pass right here, a little shuffle pass. Jamari Clark takes off with it and almost shifting that ball at the wrong time. Jones comes up and finishes Jamari Clark off.
Movement. Looks like one of the receivers, A.J. Shipman, may be called for the infraction. Wow. Put it on the band.
Yeah, sometimes when you get excited, you know, a situation like this, a game like this, the bands get excited, and, you know, they're supposed to stop playing at a certain time. But, again, the band can get you in trouble.
Clark this time, and the blue shirts are right there to upend him. Andre Heller right there with the tackle, big number 44. He's 6 feet 270. That's just a ball of pain.
Yeah, Albany State got a big defensive line, and again, these guys are ranked high in every category in the SIAC on defense. So again, Fort Valley is aware of that, and the offensive coordinator for Fort Valley is going to have to scheme some kind of way, untraditionally, to get this ball into the end zone.
Once again, big hit by Albany State, huge tackle. And that's what you want to say hello when you do something like that. Terry Compton with the hit.
Yeah, you saw that look in Jamari Clark's face, like, man, what can we do to get things rolling? Compton, if it's not Compton, it's number 5 Jones. If it's not number 5 Jones, it's number 13 Bush, or it's this entire Albany State defense putting pressure and pain on Fort Valley.
Quayton throws and incomplete. That's more of a timing pass, a touch pass, and that's not what you want to see for a quarterback that's been sitting on the side.
Yeah, that's just an errant pass, either way you look at it. Touch, no touch, that's just an errant throw. Yes, you got a tall receiver in Bridges, but he's only 6'5". 6'5", that's still tall.
And
but
you see Coach G, he's talking to Tyler Scott like, hey, we don't want it, but there was a flag on the play, which may extend Fort Valley's possession of the ball. and not exactly sure if he has been ejected, but it was an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, which brings back Fort Valley, just as I said, they extend their possession of the football. Quayton throws deep, nice pass, and he incomplete, intended for Joseph Ross, but he overthrew him. Over there on the coverage, James Hawkins.
Yeah, Quayton right there looking for Massey, overthrows Massey. Again, he's been on the sideline. Quayton has been on the sideline for pretty much all of the game. And his arm is cold, as they say, and his mind is not in the game. So about the time he actually gets the momentum and the emotions of this game, it may be a little too late for Fort Valley.
High snap goes through the arms of Quayton, and now he's just got to sit on it, and he does. And falling on top of him is Joseph Davis. And now Quayton, all of those mistakes that you may see at practice during when you bring somebody in cold, now it's in a live game.
Yeah, usually when you have a snap that is errant like this right here, usually the center is recognizing a blitz, which looks like there was a blitz being called by Albany State, and at that moment the center was so focused on trying to get the block that he actually snapped the ball over Quayton's head.
Timeout called by Albany State. Obviously, they did not have the right personnel on the field, but if you're Fort Valley, Tyrone, how do you rally being down 28-6?
Well, you got to come out and you got to do razzle-dazzles. You got to do trick plays. You got to do anything that can move the ball forward. Do some halfback passes. You got to do some reverses offensively. On defense, hey, you got to sacrifice. You got to blitz. The secondary has to step up for Fort Valley and play man-to-man, but they can't give up big plays like they gave to Scott on that big run. So from Fort Valley, offensively, trick plays, reverses, get the ball into my offensive best playmakers' hands. And on defense, you got to come with the blitz, and the secondary got to play man-to-man, and you got to create some turnovers. 4 scores on defense if Fort Valley is to get back into this game.
Fountain City Classic, you can see how close it is. Fort Valley with 33 wins, Albany State with 30 wins in the overall rivalry. This is the 30th meeting in Columbus, Georgia. Reception made by Jeffrey Mack, and he slides out of bounds.
Now, this is what Albany State is going to give Fort Valley. They're going to give them the underneath, the short throws. Those throws are not going to beat you. And if I'm Albany State, I'm coaching them, I'm telling the defense, do not give up the easy play. Do not give up the big play. So that's what Albany State is going to be concentrating on defense. Do not give up the easy score.
Punting situation for high snap. Goes over the head of Mashburn. He's going to try to kick it. And will they call him down? Will they call it a safety? No. They're trying to have a discussion. Will it be a safety or will they call him down at the 2? His forward progress may have been stopped at the 2. So his forward progress was stopped at the 2. Once again, special teams playing a big role in this afternoon's game.
Again, the snap, errant play on Fort Valley. This is where they've hurt themselves on the punt coverage. But right here, the punter actually, you see the ball going over his head, picks it up, he turns to go upfield, and right there is where the referee marked the ball down. But special team has been a sore spot for Fort Valley today.
1st and goal, ball at the 2. Inside run, second effort, tries to get back to the line of scrimmage, but may have lost one on the play. Demetrius Harris ultimately brings down McKinley Habersham. And this first time we've called Demetrius Harris, he leads the country in sacks, but right now he's been a non-factor in this game.
Yeah, he's been a non-factor because usually teams are going to know where he is. You're always going to have a double team on him, which means the other D lineman, someone has to step up, and we've had a few players step up for Fort Valley, like Hansberry. He's made a couple plays today, but right now this entire defense has to make a play on this particular drive.
Second timeout of the day called by Albany State. For Fort Valley State, Demetrius Harris is not only one of the best rushers in the SIAC, he is getting national recognition. This is the leader in all of Division II. Demetrius Harris leads the way by 2 sacks over all the other competition. You see another SIAC defender right there, Demetrius Lofton, with 11.5. But for Demetrius Harris, he is one of only 4 players in the country with 13 or more sacks in all of NCAA football.
Yeah, right now I bet you Demetrius Harris is saying he would trade in all those 13 and a half sacks right now for the score to be closer than what it is. But kudos to him. You know, he's doing his job, making sacks. That's his job, make sacks, stop the run, and hopefully somewhere down the line, Demetrius Harris will have an opportunity to exploit his talent on the next level called the NFL.
Second and goal for the Golden Rams. Inside give to Scott, and he walks in again. His second touchdown of the half is Tracy Scott.
Yeah, right here we're going to see Hansberry gets pushed out. Safety comes up but can't make the play on Scott. Downhill, usually the running back is always going to win on a downhill play against a defensive guy.
3:05 left to play in the third quarter. Remember, this game in the third quarter started as 7-6 in favor of the Golden Rams. Point after attempt is successful for Gabe Belinas. And now Tracy Scott and the rest of the Golden Rams are going to try to put this game on ice and see if they can punch their ticket to host this year's SIAC championship game. And what we've seen is special teams and offense step up big for the Golden Rams. And for Fort Valley, we've seen emotions take over, which has caused an implosion of their opportunity to win this game.
Yeah, I think a lot of that emotion came from the special teams. Hawkins for Albany State created the first touchdown for Albany State and then came back and had another hat trick. But Fort Valley came back and fixed that particular problem with their punt team, but fixed it a little bit too late. The momentum and emotions shifted to Albany State, and Albany State now is riding that wave to a 35-6 lead.
Belinas will kick it deep. Fort Valley will take it from inside their own 5. And Jeffrey Mack on the return brings it out. 35-6 is your score. And what we saw was going to be an intense defensive battle before emotions and special teams got away from the Wildcats of Fort Valley State. Now, Garrell Quayton in for DeMonte Jones, who is ejected for throwing a punch in the third quarter. Now he has and the flags keep coming for the Wildcats. And now for Quayton and company, they have to, as you said, do some razzle-dazzle or go to extreme measures in order to get on the scoreboard again and have their first score of this half.
Yeah, they have to do something very, very special. If anything, they need to get a touchdown before this quarter is over to even feel good about themselves going into the fourth quarter.
From their own 10, Clark on the run, and he is able to get some positive yards before he is eventually brought down. Good tackle there by Malik Barnes.
Now, you're going to see Fort Valley get some runs like this. You're going to ask yourself, well, why don't they keep running the ball? Well, you know why they're picking up big yards like this? Because Albany State is playing for the pass.
Ross on the reception, and he is quickly wrapped up and brought down. James Hawkins, who right now may be the MVP of this game, brings him down for the tackle.
Now, if I'm Fort Valley, I want to see how my players are going to play. How can they handle the predicament that they're in? Last year's score was 40-6. Right now it's 35-6. So just got movement on the offensive line. You know, penalties. Penalties and turnovers have really hurt the Wildcats today. And also Jones being thrown out of the game, and you have their trigger man, the 2,000-plus yard Jarman. He's injured. So it's been really tough on the Wildcats today.
Quayton trying to elude the pressure, but he cannot elude all of the pressure. Brought down, sacked again. Good play by Stephon Pierre, who's back in the game after leaving with an injury.
Yeah, nowhere to go with the ball. He wants to throw it, pulls it back in, tries to elude the rush, but goes down at the hands of Pierre, number 30 for Albany State.
Now for Fort Valley, they're going to be in a real strange situation. You've already had 2 kicks blocked. Mashburn now punting out of his own end zone. Will Albany State go after it again? They do, and they block it. Third block of the game. The ball is still loose, and it is possession Albany State. And now we've got some pushing and shoving. The kicker is actually trying to get into it a little bit. Mashburn gets up and jogs off the field. We've got a lot of things going on wrong for Fort Valley on this play.
Yeah, this is one of them situations where, you know, you ever seen a cartoon where the car is going down the road and all the bolts start coming off of the wheels and the wheels start falling off? This is what's happening to Fort Valley. The wheels are beginning to come off the bus. And they being Fort Valley, got to keep everything in check. If not, this game would truly get out of hand.
Tomas Ward gets the credit for the block. And on his first carry, Montavian Brooks from Morrow, Georgia. And you see the tackle made by Jazari Patterson. And he is fired up because he knows that time is running out for the junior on this season if they can't turn things around as we are winding down the third quarter going into the fourth.
Well, I tell you what, you can lose to anybody 35-6, but you don't want to lose to your rivalry, your nemesis. You don't want to get blown out by them. That is something that you would never be able to live down as a Fort Valley State Wildcat.
And they will let time run out. We have played 3 complete, have 1 more to go. But what we've seen in the third quarter is an explosion of plays for Albany State. They have scored with special teams and offense. Now they have a 35-6 lead right here on ESPN.
So, we proudly bring you more of it. The new 911. Timeless machine.
One of the attractions in Columbus, Georgia is the zip line. You can zip line from state to state, and Tyrone Poole, I hear you're going to be zippity-doo-dah, zippity-day. Tyrone Poole across the Chattahoochee today.
How long it took for you to come up with that?
Oh, it took a long time. We had a lot of writers working with it. Pass is incomplete, but there is a flag on the ground.
Like Fort Valley going to need some zip line to zip some points on the board.
The Ram pass, ball's incomplete.
Defense, number 4, Tyrone. Ball placed 2-yard line. First down.
Pass interference.
Yeah, Tyler Moore got his name called, but got it called for the wrong reason. Pass interference. But hey, that's the life of a corner. You live on an island.
Inside run, Scott again, and for the third time, it's a touchdown. This time, Marquise Fulks with the score. Marquise Fulks scores for Albany State, and now the rout has begun.
Yeah, Fulks right here. Watch him. He makes a move almost like a la Marshall Faulk. He makes a little nifty cut back to his right, a little shift, and goes into the end zone for his first score in this Fountain City Classic, the 30th Fountain City Classic between Fort Valley State and Albany State.
And just to give fans an update on the score, if everything holds, Albany State will host the 2019 SIAC Championship game, and it appears that it is a final at Tuskegee, with Miles College defeating Tuskegee 20-6.
Now,
So we may have a rematch of last year's championship game, but now at another location. It'll be at Coach G's house in Albany, Georgia.
Now, the one thing about Miles College, they are a well-coached team. They are going to be prepared. Right now, it looks like Albany State. Miles College is good against the run. We've covered them. They have a great defensive unit, offensive unit as well. So it's going to be a very interesting game. And we know that Miles can win on the road as well as play great at home.
And that was a huge game for Tuskegee because it was their homecoming. So they went over to Tuskegee and beat them there. Clark. And Clark gets out to about the 25 before he runs into some traffic and is brought down.
Jamari Clark on the return. Brought down by number 21, Tyler Scott.
And now, is it a time, if you're Albany, to try to rest some players? And if you're Quayton, do you have a momentous comeback in you? Or do you just say, let's try to get on the board in this half?
You just want to try to make the score respectable. Again, you got Albany State, Fort Valley State bragging rights. So you don't want to be the 2019 team that says they gave up the most points in the Fountain City Classic against your opposition.
Slip and fall by Clark, which will bring up second down.
First down carry.
And for Jamari Clark, he is trying to be the offensive spark for this team, but every time he is a shining light, it has been Albany State's defense and special teams that have put out the spark provided by Jamari Clark.
Yeah, you know, Clark has given all he could give, but at the end of the day, that's why they call football the ultimate team sport. You know, Clark can only do what he can do, but the other 10 guys have to step up and do their job. And right now, Albany State has put all three phases, offense, defense, and special teams, into the Fountain City Classic, which has given them a 42-6 lead.
Looks like we have a player down, and looks like that's Emmanuel Boone, just a sophomore out of Macon. And good to see the starting center, Emmanuel Boone, up, and he'll be helped off the field, which means that Andre Turner, the backup, who is just a freshman, may have to come in and handle the snapping duties.
Now, if there's a position, another position that you do not want to lose, you don't want to lose your starting quarterback. Well, the next spot, you don't want to lose your starting center, because your center is the guy that actually initiates the play. And without the snap of the ball correctly, and sometimes the center actually calls out the blocking assignments. So that position, playing center, is very, very important.
And now we have at center Aaron Atkins, number 69, freshman out of Cairo.
You see him
Georgia.
right there calling out plays right there. He's calling out who's who. That's why that position is very important.
Quayton finds Clark, and Clark is able to get to about the 33 before he is brought down by Heller.
Deshaun Rosser, Jalen Bush on the stop.
Now 3rd and 9 from the 28. Shadows starting to come into McClung Memorial Stadium. Pitch and catch to Joseph Ross, enough for the first. Good play by Quayton.
Again, the play starts with the snap. So again, Atkins does a great job of getting the ball back to Quayton. That's the beginning of the play. At least Fort Valley's doing well in that particular spot.
Pass complete once again to Joseph Ross.
Ross on the reception.
And for Quayton, an opportunity to shine one more time. He is listed as a senior. We have a timeout on the field, 12:51 left to play. An offensive explosion for Albany State as they have a 42-6 lead right here on ESPN.
Classic committee. Once again, we'd like to thank our
The world's never gotten enough of it. So, we proudly bring you more of it. The new 911. Timeless machine.
Garrell Quayton had to come in and relieve the starter for Fort Valley, DeMonte Jones, who was ejected for throwing a punch. His team trails 42-6, 12:51 left to play. James Redd along with Tyrone Poole. Quayton trying to run and elude defenders. He does find a receiver in Shamar Bridges. He gets out to midfield, enough for a first down to move the chains.
Yeah, great play by Quayton here to move in the pocket. Sees the rush coming, eludes it, rolls out to his left, throws the ball to Bridges, who does a great job getting upfield. Just protect the football, hold on to it, so Fort Valley can keep the drive going and possibly put some points on the board.
Quayton, he slings another one. Reception made into Albany State territory. Jeffrey Mack on the reception.
At this point, Albany State is going to trade yards for time. So Quayton, he's going to see a lot of underneath throws, and a lot of throws in the middle of the field are going to be wide open because Albany State, they're going to protect deep and protect the sidelines.
Quayton once again finds Ross. Time is not on their side Nice possession receptions by Joseph Ross, but they need big plays in the end zone.
So really, if you look at 11, 28, 27 left in the game, Fort Valley has about 3 possessions, if 3, with this 11 minutes left in the game, unless they score and kick onside kicks and recover it every time. Other than that, they got about no more than 3 possessions. And even if they score 3 touchdowns, that's not enough points to overcome 42.
When we come back, we'll see if Coach Porter and his squad can get on the scoreboard here in the second half right here on ESPN.
The world's never gotten enough of it. So, we proudly bring you more of it. The new 911. Timeless machine.
Selfies going on right here at A.J. McClung Stadium in Columbus, Georgia. All the fans now are trying to get hotel rooms and try to get their accommodations set because Albany State is 11 minutes away from saying they're Eastern Division champions and hosting the SIAC championship game. Another sack for Albany State. Harvey on the sack.
Yeah, again here, Fort Valley, really not too much going on for them today. Albany State has had their way with Fort Valley, especially on special teams, with the block punt by Hawkins that initiated that momentum. He alone, Hawkins, can say 14 of the 42 belongs to him.
And looks
12
like
of the 42.
Quayton was a little hurt. We have a new quarterback who pushed it over to Fleming, who gets hit extremely hard by James Hawkins along with others. Add to that Charmaine White, who's playing D-line.
You know, we got a new quarterback in, number 13, Daniels. Now, we were talking with Coach G. Let's flip it on the other side. Coach G said that if Williams goes down, number 12 for Albany State, that Habersham will be the quarterback. So both of these teams are suffering major injuries. But, hey, that's why you go out and you recruit players that could play a possible position if needed.
Mashburn kicks it inside the 5, down at the 4. And a long day for Mashburn. He's had 3 of his kicks blocked. 2 of those blocks turned into points for Albany State.
You know, in the last 10 games, Albany State has dominated. They've actually won 7 of the last 10. Dating back to 2009, they beat Fort Valley, won that one 35-13, and you mosey on up to 2014. Albany State won it 32-21, and last year Albany State won it 40-6. So right now, Albany State has a 2-game winning streak. Looks like it's going to be a 3-game winning streak against Fort Valley in the Fountain City Classic.
Run by the Golden Rams, and they get out to about the 6-yard line with forward progress. On the carry, Montavian Brooks.
And the other 2 victories coming from Fort Valley, 2012 they beat Albany 38-20, and 2016 21-17. So Fort Valley got to get back on the winning streak, and for Albany, they want to keep the winning streak going.
This time Brooks is slapped down. Majesty Hansberry there with the tackle.
You know, anytime the game is out of hand like this is where you want to see your guys as a head coach. You want to see your guys play finish, regardless of what the score is. This is a gut check. This is how much do you respect yourself and respect the institution to continue to play hard regardless? Because, again, you don't want to be the team, you're Fort Valley, you don't want to be none of those 11 guys out there that when they look back at it and they say this 2019 team gave up the most points to an Albany State team.
Williams, he will keep it and get out of the end zone and down at about the 14-yard line. Got some extra pushing and shoving going on. Remember, he was down. He was sliding. So in college football, you don't even need to touch him because he's giving himself up. And he is down because he goes to the ground. He doesn't have to come in contact with anyone. It'll be a 4th and 2 punt situation for Albany State, and you see Calais Williams. He is trying to find out, hey, what did I do on that play that was wrong?
Yeah, just looking at our records, I believe the most points ever scored in the Fountain City Classic game was 48, dated back 1970.
Short punt by Bolinas, and it goes out of bounds. It does take a Albany State bounce out of bounds at the 46. Great field position, but continue on.
And like I was saying, the most points ever scored in the Fountain City Classic game was 48. So right now, Albany State has 42. Again, you don't want to be that Fort Valley team that actually has given up the most points this 2019 team. So with 7:05 left in the game, Fort Valley State offense needs to put points on the board, and their defense needs to make sure that Albany State doesn't score another touchdown.
Quayton gives to Clark. Clark has been that offensive spark, but looks like they may have had another fumble. And we're going to see if it is a turnover. One official is saying yes and waiting for the official call. And yes, it is a turnover. And credit with the fumble recovery is Garrett Anderson for Albany State. And yes, he dropped the ball, and he's just trying to get his hands. Great job by the defender to hold that hand back. And for Garrett Anderson, his first fumble recovery of the year, and all his teammates are right there giving him the business. And they are happy for Garrett. Brooks trying to go to the outside, and a flag, and yes, he reached out. And got to make sure they don't have anything go on. White and blue, everybody's coming. And they're saying bye-bye. Great job by the coaching staff to try to keep everybody separated on that one.
Yeah, at that point right there, you just grab whatever you can, bring the guy down.
And Brooks in for Tracy Scott and McKinley Habersham, who are obviously resting now that with 6 minutes and 33 seconds and counting, this game may be at hand. And Brooks, nice spin move. And he's able to get some positive yards before he is brought down by Antonio Golden.
Again, all Albany State going to do, they're just going to pound the ball, run the ball. And Fort Valley, each man, each player has to do their responsibility and stop this run game. Albany State's not just going to lay down just because they have a 42-6 lead. They're going to continue to play. It's up to the defense of Fort Valley to stop them.
High snap. And Brooks looks like he will fall on it. No, it looks like Fort Valley. Fort Valley gets the ball back. DeMarquez Carter, no, check that, Zaquan Baldwin with the fumble recovery.
Zaquan Baldwin on the fumble recovery for Fort Valley.
Mistakes happen on the Albany State side. Maybe too little too late, but good job by Fort Valley's defense. And the turnover hammer. And it goes down. Great job by Zaquan Baldwin. And this pass goes through the arms of the intended receiver, A.J. Shipman. Incomplete.
Yeah, you look into the stands right about now. Only fans that are left are probably the diehard Fort Valley fans. Everyone else is pretty much trying to beat that traffic or trying to get to the next barbecue.
Yes, they're going to the tents and the tailgate area to enjoy themselves. And Fort Valley gets some positive yards on the reception. Jalen Louder moves it as the clock turns down. And the celebration is slowly starting to begin on the Albany State sideline. First and 10 for the Wildcats. Clark gets some positives, moves the ball inside Albany State territory down at the 44. So, Tyrone, if you're looking at Fort Valley, they made some strides this season again, but is quarterback going to be paramount for them to move forward offensively next season?
I think it's a team effort. Sometimes you have that offensive coordinator that comes in and all he's known for is to throw the ball, but I think to be a complete team, you got to take that pressure off of you just having that quarterback to throw the ball. You got to have a complete running game, complete passing game. So Fort Valley, without Slade Jarman, we see that their productivity goes downhill. Somewhere or another, they got to find that running back, someone that can come in and complement the passing game that they have, which they led the SIAC.
Well, let's start to think about next week. Albany State taking on, good play there by Albany State. Kendall Parker, junior defensive back. So Albany State taking on Miles College. Rematch of the SIAC championship game of last year. Both teams play strong defense. Both want to run the ball. And the ball is batted away. Defense playing well. Brandon Crawford with the play. So how do you look at these two teams when you mark them up, when you look at Miles and you look at Albany State?
Well, first of all, you look at Miles College. They're 8-2. 5-1 in the West, the conference. But the big thing is they are 4-0 at home, which we know they're going to be playing Albany State and Albany. But they are 4-2 on the road. So that tells me that they are a great home team and a pretty doggone good away team. So Albany State, even though they're playing at home, Albany has had their problems with Miles College.
When we come back, we'll see if Albany can put this game on ice. 3 minutes, 28 seconds with a 42-6 lead.
So, we proudly bring you more of it. The new 911. Timeless machine.
The 30th annual Fountain City Classic at A.J. McClung Memorial Stadium. Bubbles. Yeah, you got to have bubbles at your tailgate. And look at those turkey legs, and look at that stir fryer on the grill. And yes, they are just stirring it up in the big pots. All the fun that you could have. And oh, look at that, the electronic bull. And oh, she goes off. Look out. Oh, even the bull bites back sometimes. A lot of fun to be had in and around A.J. McClung Stadium. They got parties tonight. They had parties all week. And for Albany State, that run by Tyler Scott may have put this game on ice. All they'll have to do right now is put it down. Marquise Folks, on the carry.
You know, you asked me about the Miles College and Albany State matchup. Now, Coach G, we know their offense is based off of the run. They run the ball a lot, more than they pass. But guess what? Miles College is number 1 against the run. They're basically giving up 74 yards a game. So it's going to be very intriguing to see what and how Coach G prepares this Albany State Rams team to go up against a team like Miles College that is built to stop the run. And they, Albany State, really are not built to throw the ball.
Coach G is trying to make sure that they get the playoff in time. And they're trying to wait to the last possible moment to hike it with less than 2 minutes. Another inside run by Folks. And with less than 2 minutes, the celebration will start to begin. Eastern Division champs for the second year in a row is Coach G and his staff. And now they'll have their work cut out, because now they'll have to play a team that defeated them last season 50-3 in Miles College, who started off the year last year at 0-5, went on a win streak to win the SIAC championship.
And how about this? Miles College, just like Fort Valley State is the number 1 scoring offense in the SIAC. Well, guess who's the number 2 scoring offense in the SIAC?
Miles College.
Miles College. So Coach G and his coaching staff, they got another task cut out for them next week. So they're going to enjoy this victory here, and I'm pretty sure he's going to tell his team, enjoy this victory, but we have to get ready for one of the biggest games of our lives against our foe, which is becoming very quickly a rivalry in itself, Miles and Albany State.
Last few seconds. They want to put this game on ice. Timeout is called. And Coach G has come into a traditional power and brought them back. All they're missing is a crown. And the ASU grandma is saying, you know what? I'm going to keep dancing until we get that crown, which is a championship. And they gave Coach G his shower and all the other coaches a shower. And that's what you need in a classic game like this. And I know Coach G's like, okay, that's nice, but we still got one more game.
Did you see that expression on Coach G's face when all that cold Gatorade hit him?
Oh, yeah.
The temperature was cold outside.
Horn sounds. And for Coach Gardenia and his staff, another victory in the 30th annual Fountain City Classic. 42-6 is your final score in favor of the Golden Rams, and they will face Miles College next week, 2 p.m. at Albany State to decide the SIAC championship, and you can watch it right here on the ESPN app. Congratulations to the team in blue and gold, and your final thoughts, Tyrone?
Well, for Fort Valley, they can easily go back and say, hey, we came in limping, didn't have our star quarterback, Slade Jarman, but hey, everybody else has to step up and got to play. For Albany State, they get another opportunity to face Miles College, one of our foe who's going to bring it next weekend.
And so for Tyrone Poole, I'm James Verrett saying so long from Columbus, Georgia, where our final score is Albany State 42, Fort Valley 6. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live on the ESPN app, or to watch the entire game on replay as well as other games in our family of ESPN networks, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.